I never thought a day would come when my own son would look at me with eyes that didn't recognize me. Not angry, not sad, just empty, like someone meeting a stranger for the first time. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. The kind of morning when the sun is soft and the world still feels gentle. I was standing in his kitchen, setting down a plate of food I'd made for him, just like I used to when he was little. And then she walked in, my daughter-in-law, with that smile she saved only for him, and that silence she saved only for me. She whispered something into his ear. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the way his shoulders stiffened. I saw how his eyes slowly lifted toward me, hesitant, uncertain. And then, suddenly, distant, it was the way you look at someone you've been told to fear. Someone you've been told to doubt. Someone you've been told is not really on your side. And in that moment, I felt something inside me fall apart, not loudly, not dramatically. More like a soft, tired cracking, the kind that happens when something has been slowly breaking for years. You see, I raised my son with love. With patience. With the kind of devotion only a single mother can truly understand. But somehow, she, his wife, managed to change the way he saw me. Not through truth, not through love, but through quiet, careful lies that she told when no one else was around. Little stories, small twists, moments she painted differently so that I became the villain in places where I never even spoke. And when he finally looked at me that morning, it was like all those lies were living inside his eyes. I could feel them. I could feel the distance. I could feel the wall that hadn't been there before she arrived in his life. But I didn't say anything. I didn't defend myself. I didn't ask what she had told him. Because a mother knows. A mother can feel when her child is slipping away. Even if he doesn't notice it himself. I just stood there quietly wondering how long I'd been losing him before I realized it. I guess to understand what happened, you need to know who my son used to be. Before life pulled him away from me. Before someone else whispered stories into his ears and made him forget the truth he grew up with. My son's name is Daniel. To me, he's still the little boy who used to run around the kitchen with flour on his cheeks, begging me to let him help bake cookies, even though he made a bigger mess than anything else. He used to draw me little stick figure cards every Mother's Day, with hearts too big for the page. And whenever he had a nightmare, he would climb into my bed without saying a word, curl against my side, and whisper, "Mama, don't let go." I never let go, not once. Not even when the world made me. You see, we were alone for most of his childhood. His father left before Daniel turned 3. I still remember the night he walked out. Daniel was asleep with one hand holding his favorite blanket, the edges frayed from how often he dragged it around. I stood in the doorway and watched his father pack a small bag, saying he needed space. I wanted to beg him to stay, but I looked at my son and realized I needed to stay strong for him instead. So it was just the two of us. And honestly, we were happy. I worked 2 jobs. Some days I left before sunrise and returned long after the streetlights glowed. I was tired, but when I opened our little apartment door and saw Daniel's smile, the exhaustion melted. He used to run into my arms so hard I stumbled backward. To him, I was enough. To him, I was home. When he got older, he became even more protective of me. He refused to let me carry heavy groceries. He would help me clean without being asked. He even saved little portions of his school lunch, just in case Mama gets hungry later. It wasn't perfect. But we had love, and it was simple, and it was ours. When Daniel went to college, I cried for a week straight. Not because I didn't want him to grow, but because he had been my constant companion for so long. The house felt too big, too quiet. I would make dinner and catch myself setting 2 plates instead of 1. I would do laundry and pause when I reached for his shirts that weren't there anymore. But when he called, his voice still held warmth. "Hey, Mom," he'd say. And just those 2 words could soften the sharp edges of the day. Then one day, he mentioned a girl. Her name was Lena. He said it casually, like it didn't mean anything. But I could hear it in his voice, the tiny spark, the hopeful tremble. I smiled, because what mother doesn't want their child to find love? "Tell me about her," I asked gently. And he did. "She was smart," he said. "Confident. Always the center of the room. She grew up wealthy, went to private schools, traveled the world. She had a presence that could fill silence, and a way of speaking that made people lean in. I remember thinking, well, good. He deserves someone wonderful. But I also felt something else. Something small, like a thread being tugged in my chest. Not jealousy, not fear, just the quiet awareness that things were changing. When Daniel brought her home for the first time, I tried my best to make her feel welcome. I cooked the dishes Daniel loved growing up: roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, and my special apple pie. I decorated the table with candles and fresh flowers. I even bought a new table runner because I wanted everything to look warm and inviting. She walked in with perfect posture, perfect makeup, perfect clothes. She smiled politely, but her eyes scanned the room like she was inspecting it. "This is cozy," she said. Not kindly, not unkindly either. Just neutral, like she was choosing her words carefully. I told myself it didn't matter. Not everyone shows affection the same way. During dinner, she asked Daniel about job opportunities, networking events, and travel plans. She talked a lot about success, ambition, social climbing. Every now and then, she looked at me and offered a tight little smile, as if she was trying to be respectful, or at least appear respectful. But what struck me most was how Daniel reacted around her. He sat straighter, spoke more formally, laughed a little too quickly at her jokes. And every time I said something, he glanced at her first, almost checking to see how she might respond. It wasn't the son I knew. It was subtle, so subtle that if I didn't know him so well, I would have missed it. But a mother always notices. After dinner, I offered dessert. "Oh, Daniel doesn't eat sugary foods anymore," she said before he could answer. She laughed lightly. "I'm helping him improve his habits." I saw him hesitate. Then he nodded. "Yeah, I'm trying to be healthier." It was one small moment, but it settled heavy inside me, like a stone dropping into a quiet lake. Still, I told myself I was overthinking. Love changes people. That's normal. That's life. Months passed, and little by little, I noticed small shifts. His calls became shorter, less frequent. Sometimes he sounded distracted, like he was answering while someone watched. Other times, he spoke with a stiffness that didn't belong to him. And whenever I asked how he was, he said the same thing: "I'm fine, Mom." Just busy. Busy. Such a simple word, yet somehow, it creates the deepest distance. I didn't blame him. He was building a life. He deserved to grow, to love, to dream. But the more time passed, the more I felt like I was watching my son fade, little piece by little piece, like a photograph left too long in the sun. The last time he visited before everything fell apart, he hugged me, but it felt polite. Formal, like a greeting between coworkers instead of family. And somewhere deep inside, I felt the first quiet fear. The fear that love, his love, was slipping through my fingers. The fear that someone else was teaching him a version of me that wasn't true. But I stayed calm. I stayed patient. I stayed hopeful. Because I believed in the bond we had built. The bond we lived through. The bond I raised him with. I just didn't know that in the months to come, someone else's lies would be stronger than my years of love. Someone else would take my place in his mind. And one day, when he finally looked at me, it wouldn't be as a mother, but as a stranger. I began to notice the change like you notice the weather shifting in early autumn. Quiet at first, soft, almost easy to ignore, until it's not. It started with small moments. Moments I tried to brush aside. Moments I told myself were normal. But a mother always knows when something is breaking. One evening, I stopped by unannounced. Something I had always done, something my son used to love. I used to bring dinner, or a small treat from the bakery he grew up loving. That day, I brought his favorite lemon pie. When he opened the door, his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Mom, next time, maybe call first," he said softly. I froze for a second. He had never asked me to call before. His home had always felt like an extension of my own. Before I could answer, she appeared behind him, arms crossed, jaw tight, eyes cold. "Oh, it's your mother," she said, her tone sounding more like an inconvenience than a greeting. I forced a gentle smile. "Hello, sweetheart. I brought pie. Thought I'd surprise you both." She didn't return the smile. "We're actually busy," she said, stepping forward as if to block the doorway. "It's really not a good time." My son didn't say anything. He just stood there, Quiet, hesitant, like a boy who'd been scolded moments before. "I won't stay long," I said softly. "Just wanted to drop this off." She didn't move aside. Instead, she sighed and looked at him, not me. "See," she said to him. "This is what I mean. Boundaries." He nodded, too quickly. And something inside me sank. A week later, the calls started feeling rehearsed. Short, rushed, like someone was listening in, or controlling the pacing. I would say, "Is everything all right?" And he would answer, yeah, everything's fine." But the tone wasn't the same. My son used to talk to me like I was his anchor. Now he spoke like he was afraid to stay on the line too long. Then came the family lunch. I invited them both. I cooked all morning, his childhood favorites, the ones he used to request every birthday. When they arrived, she barely looked at the food. "Oh, fried food again?" she said with a judgmental tilt of her head. "It's not very healthy, is it?" My son glanced at her before speaking. "Yeah, Mom, maybe next time something lighter." He had never cared about that. He used to eat 2 plates with laughter and thanks. I tried to shake it off. I tried to keep the peace. But things escalated slowly, painfully, like tightening a knot that eventually snaps. The next shift came with holidays. Thanksgiving had always been our time. He used to peel potatoes with me while humming old songs. We'd laugh at the turkey that never cooked evenly. It was tradition, our tradition. But that year, he called me 2 nights before. "Mom, we're doing Thanksgiving with her family this time." I felt the silence inside my chest before I felt it in the room. "But, we've always..." He cut me off. "Yeah, I know. But things change." His voice wasn't unkind, just distant, like he already knew I'd accept it. Like he counted on the fact that I wouldn't fight him the way she would. "But I made plans," I whispered. There was a pause. I heard her voice in the background. A sharp whisper, too quick and too pointed to be accidental. Then he said, "Told you she'd take it personally." My breath caught. She had said that. Not him. But he repeated it, carried her words as his own. A few weeks later, it became clearer. Little things she told him, little lies, started appearing in his tone, his reactions, even his posture around me. Once, I overheard her saying, "Your mom doesn't respect us. She thinks we can't handle our own home." I had never said that. Not even close. Another time, I heard her complaining, "She's trying to control everything. Even you. You're a grown man." I had never tried to control him. I raised him to think for himself, to be kind, to communicate, but her words stuck to him like wet leaves, one layer at a time. Then came the worst moment. The moment I realized the distance wasn't accidental anymore. I was at the store, picking up a few things, when I spotted them in the next aisle. I was happy, surprised. I thought maybe fate had given me a small moment with them. I walked over, smiling. "Hey, sweetheart," I said to my son, touching his arm lightly. "What a nice surprise." But he stepped back. Just a small step, but enough to feel like a knife. She looked me up and down with a cold smile. "Oh," she said. "She's here." My son didn't say anything. She leaned toward him and whispered, loud enough for me to hear. "See? She does this. She pops up everywhere." My heart dropped. I wasn't popping up. It was a grocery store. Public. Normal. But he looked at me with the same uneasy hesitation I had seen at his door. "Mom, we're in a hurry," he said. "Maybe call next time if you want to meet." Meet? As if I wasn't his mother. As if I was some distant relative asking for an appointment. I forced a soft smile. "Of course," I whispered. "Take care." They walked away together. He didn't look back. I did. And in that moment, in a grocery store aisle surrounded by cereal boxes and canned soup, my son felt further from me than he ever had in his life. That was when I knew. Something was being twisted, changed, rewritten, and I was losing him, not because he wanted to leave, but because she was teaching him to forget who I had been to him all his life. I remember the exact moment everything changed. It happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon, the kind of day that usually felt safe and familiar. The house was calm, almost too calm, and I could hear my own footsteps as I walked down the hallway toward my son's living room. I had come over because he asked if we could talk. His message didn't say about what, but something inside me already felt tense. When I stepped inside, he was sitting on the couch, upright, stiff, almost rehearsed. His wife sat beside him, her arms folded, her eyes fixed on me like she had already made up her mind. I knew that look. I had seen it many times, but never directed at me. I smiled gently and sat down across from them. "What's going on?" I asked, trying to sound calm. My son looked down first, then at her, as if waiting for permission to speak. That tiny hesitant gesture, it broke something inside me. A mother knows her child's expressions better than she knows her own. And in that moment, he looked like a man caught between two worlds, one he came from, and one he was told to belong to now. His wife spoke before he did. "I think it's time we set some boundaries," she said, her voice cool and steady. Boundaries, such a simple word, such a painful one. I nodded slowly. "What kind of boundaries?" She took a breath, a long, self-assured one. "You've been interfering. You make him question himself. You make him feel guilty. You bring too much tension into this house." I blinked, trying to understand. "Interfering? I only visit when..." She cut me off. "Exactly. The visits. The calls. The constant checking. It's too much. He needs space." My son finally looked up at me. And that's when I saw it. The expression that will stay with me for the rest of my life. He wasn't angry. He wasn't upset. He was distant, careful, almost guarded, like someone talking to a stranger. "Mom," he said quietly, maybe it would be better if you came by less. At least for now." My heart tightened, but I kept my voice soft. "Is that what you want, sweetheart? Or what you've been told to want?" He glanced at her again. A tiny moment, but enough to tell me everything. She rested her hand on his arm, and he straightened his back as if her touch reminded him of which role he was supposed to play. "It's what we need," he said. "We, not him, not us. We, meaning him and her." I felt tears forming, but I swallowed them. I refused to let them fall in front of her. Instead, I nodded, the kind of nod you give when you're trying to hide the sound of something breaking. "I never meant to make things difficult," I said softly. "I only ever loved you." He looked away, and that hurt more than anything he had said. But then she spoke again, this time quieter, but sharper. "He tells me how stressed he feels after talking to you. He tells me how you make him second-guess our decisions. I'm only trying to protect him." My son didn't deny it. That silence, that was the turning point. The moment I realized she had rewritten the story of who I was. The moment I realized he believed every word she had fed him. The moment my own child, my boy whom I raised with love and sleepless nights and sacrifices, looked at me with doubt instead of trust. A stranger sat where my son used to be. And I knew then that something had shifted in our relationship, something deep, something painful, something I didn't know how to fix. Because the worst part wasn't her lies. It was that he believed them. I walked out of their house that day with the pie still in my hands. I don't remember the drive home. I just remember the silence. Heavy, thick, almost suffocating. I placed the pie on my kitchen counter and sat down. I cried quietly, not out of anger, but out of heartbreak. The kind of heartbreak that doesn't scream, it just sinks. For days, I didn't call him. I didn't try to defend myself. I didn't try to fight the lies. Because I realized something. You can't pull someone out of a story they want to believe. A week later, my son called. His voice was softer, uncertain. "Mom, can we talk?" When he came over, he looked tired. Like he had been wrestling with thoughts he couldn't shake. He sat at my kitchen table. The same place he used to sit as a child. The same place he learned to read. The same place he cried when he hurt his knee. But now, he sat like a visitor. "Mom," he said, "I don't know what's true anymore." I took a deep breath. "You don't have to believe me right now," I said softly. "But I need you to remember the mother who raised you. The mother who never lied to you. The mother who always protected you." He looked down. I continued, "If you choose to believe someone else's words over a lifetime of love, then nothing I say today will change that." His eyes filled, not with tears, but with conflict. For the first time, he was thinking for himself again. He stayed for an hour. We didn't solve everything, but something shifted. A door that had been slammed shut, cracked open, just a little, enough for light to enter. Life didn't go back to exactly how it was before. Some things had changed. Some wounds took time to heal. But our bond began to grow again, slowly but genuinely. Daniel eventually saw Lila for who she really was. Not because I proved anything, but because the truth revealed itself. Lies can only hold their shape for so long before they begin to crumble. I learned something too. Sometimes the people you love will be pulled away by voices louder than yours. Sometimes they will forget the years you stood by them. But the love you gave, not with conditions, not with pride, will always remain. In the end, he came back not because I called for him, but because he remembered who had raised him with love, and that is a bond stronger than any lie. Lies. Because I realized something. You can't pull someone out of a story they want to believe. A week later, my son called. His voice was softer, uncertain. "Mom, can we talk?" When he came over, he looked tired. Like he had been wrestling with thoughts he couldn't shake. He sat at my kitchen table, the same place he used to sit as a child. The same place he learned to read. The same place he cried when he hurt his knee. But now, he sat like a visitor. "Mom," he said, "I don't know what's true anymore." I took a deep breath. "You don't have to believe me right now," I said softly. "But I need you to remember the mother who raised you. The mother who never lied to you. The mother who always protected you." He looked down. I continued, "If you choose to believe someone else's words over a lifetime of love, then nothing I say today will change that." His eyes filled, not with tears, but with conflict. For the first time, he was thinking for himself again. He stayed for an hour. We didn't solve everything, but something shifted. A door that had been slammed shut, cracked open, just a little, enough for light to enter. Life didn't go back to exactly how it was before. Some things had changed. Some wounds took time to heal. But our bond began to grow again, slowly but genuinely. Daniel eventually saw Lila for who she really was. Not because I proved anything, but because the truth revealed itself. Lies can only hold their shape for so long before they begin to crumble. I learned something too. Sometimes the people you love will be pulled away by voices louder than yours. Sometimes they will forget the years you stood by them. But the love you gave, not with conditions, not with pride, will always remain. In the end, he came back not because I called for him, but because he remembered who had raised him with love, and that is a bond stronger than any lie.